Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, today we are going to talk about some important question about your Palo Alto firewall. Uh, so let us wait for a few more minutes so that other people can also join us before we start this session. I'll be creating few more free sessions on Palo Alto firewall basically. So basically, today we are going to talk about some important question and answers about your Palo Alto firewall, right? So guys, before we start, let me quickly introduce ourselves again. We are now the part of Network Buddies, and we are in this training industry from past few years, right? So now, as of now, we are yes, definitely. I do have a pool of good students with me, right? Basically, we do have our expert trainer who are expert in firewall and routing and switching, even in AWS and other technologies like F5, LTM, GTM, and ASM, right? So, guys, so this is all about us. I hope you already know our expertise, and I am in the teaching industry from past 2.5 years. So this would be my teaching industry experience, and before that I was also working as an engineer, right? So total around 7+ years of experience that I already have with me. So today, let me not waste your time, and let us quickly start some interview questions that we are going to discuss today. Before we start, guys, I would suggest you to please follow our page on facebook.com as of now, because our website is under construction, so maybe it will take time. So that as of now, to get any update, you can reach us through our web page, or you can directly contact us on the given number, which is 93156715553. Okay, alright guys, so let me not waste your time. So this would be the URL to follow us on Facebook. You can also connect with me over the WhatsApp. So you just have to click on WhatsApp button so that you can directly get connected with us. Guys, okay, so here's my blackboard. So let's start with some basic questions about your Palo Alto. Right now, the first question, guys. Basically, this is my Palo Alto question and answer interview question and answer session. This is first session. Again, if I get a good I can say if I get a good reviews or good views on this video, definitely I'll be creating the another part of this video, right? So suddenly we have planned this, and now we are live on the YouTube. So let's start with the first question. The first question says, so guys, so again, if I talk about your questions, if you want to ask any question, you can type in the YouTube chat box, right? Again, you can put your question so that I can also describe that question if you want, right? So basically, I'm covering here the question and answer who are on the level of PCNSA, right? So basically, these questions are related to your PCNSA only. Maybe some question will cover your PCNSC part as well, right? Now, so guys, before we start, let me talk about the first question, which says, "What is firewall?" Anyone who would like to answer? Anyone, guys? So my question is, what is firewall? Again, easy question. I asked this question so many times, but again, guys, if you give a wrong answer to this question, definitely you will be going out from your interview just with a simple question. I hope, guys, am I audible to you all and visible to you all as well, right? So this is your first question, and yes, Lokesh, thank you. So prevent unauthorized access. Yes, you are correct. Right. So basically, firewall prevent unauthorized access. It blocks users who are not authorized to access our inside network. Right. So basically, this is the yes, in the network. Correct. Right, Lokesh. So if I talk about if I give you a perfect definition of the firewall, a firewall is a network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and permit or blocks data packet based on set of security rules. So guys, if I talk about firewalls, we can control or allow means permit or allow any particular traffic by creating the rules, right? My firewall make the decision on the basis of rules, right? But if I talk about router, we don't have any kind of rules over there, right? So if I talk about firewall, whether you use Palo Alto firewall, ASH firewall, Checkpoint firewall, FortiGate firewall, any firewall, again we have to put some rules on the firewalls, right? So basically, this is the funda behind your firewall, right? Because once my firewall receive any packet on ingress interface, again my firewall is going to check some policies. After checking the policies, it will take the decision whether this packet is going to be allowed or denied. Clear, guys? So this would be your first question. I hope you got the right answer from my end. Now let me move to the next question, which is, what is stateful firewall and what is static firewall? So there are so many people who are very confused in both of these questions. So let me write the question. What is stateful firewall? Now let me answer your first question. What is stateful firewall? Right. So basically, guys, if I talk about stateful firewall, let me give you one scenario. So suppose this is your firewall, right? Suppose this is your firewall, and I'm talking about the stateful behavior of your firewall. So basically, in stateful behavior, what my firewall performing? Suppose my firewall has 1, 2 and 3 inside interfaces who are connecting our LAN network, right? And my firewall has 2 outside interfaces, right? My firewall has 2 outside interface and 3 inside interface. Now in this scenario, how my firewall will work as a stateful manner, right? If I talk about stateful manner, basically the firewall who works as a stateful, basically it creates one connection table, and you can say state table, right? So basically, why am I firewall creating this table? My firewall creating this table so that it can maintain a database, or you can say it can maintain. Suppose, let me take one PC over here, and suppose here we have one server and we are connected through one ISP, right? So this is your server and this is your user A. Now suppose user A has the IP address of 10.1 and the server IP address is 8.8.8.8, right? So this would be your IP address now, and my user A would like to communicate with 8.8.8.8, right? What will happen in that case is, before start sending data packets, first what we are going to do is we are going to perform three-way handshake, right guys? So before sending any kind of data packets, first we have to make a TCP three-way handshake connection. Now suppose user A sends one first packet, which is SYN packet, right? So user is sending SYN packet to the server, right? So what my firewall doing is, my firewall maintaining a state, or suppose it is creating one table where it is writing the IP address as well as the packet name, right? Now the SYN packet has been sent to your server. Now once it reaches to your server, now server is going to reply your SYN packet with the SYN plus ACK packet. Clear guys? If this is your stateful firewall, it is going, once this firewall receive packet on outside interface, it is going to check the connection table. If we found any entry in the connection table, then only this traffic would be permitted, otherwise this packet would be dropped over here. So now so this is a good thing about your stateful firewall. Why? Because that is good for security purpose. Suppose if we have any X user who is also connected with the internet and who will try to access your inside network, right? Suppose here you have one server in your internal network with the IP of x.x, right? Now suppose this user cannot connect to the x.x. Why? Because once this X user send any request, any SYN packet to the firewall, if my firewall don't have any entry in the connection table for that user, my firewall is directly going to block that traffic, right? My firewall is going to drop that packet over there. Clear guys? So this is your stateful behavior. Stateful means basically we are creating a state in the firewall, right? We are maintaining a state or creating a state of a TCP three-way handshake. Even if we are sending segments through the firewall, that state also be maintained, right? So basically this is your stateful firewall, and stateful firewall works till layer 7. So basically your layer 7 of OSI model, if you got a stateful firewall, you can filter traffic till layer 7. It means this would be your next generation firewall. Now if I talk about static firewall, So static firewall is totally opposite to your stateful firewall, because static firewall don't have to maintain any kind of table, right? Now static firewall has so many drawbacks and other things, right? So guys, mostly interviewer will ask you the same question, what is a stateful firewall? Clear guys? Now let me move to the next question, which is why Palo Alto is being called as a next generation firewall. Now guys, anyone would like to answer this question? Why Palo Alto is being called as a next generation firewall? Now let me give you answer. If I talk about next generation firewall, my next generation firewall includes enterprise firewall capabilities. Apart from that, IPS, application control features, and Palo Alto Network delivers all the next generation firewall features using the single platform and parallel processing and single management system, right? Unlike other vendors who use different modules or multiple management system to offer next generation firewall feature, Palo Alto next generation firewall different from other vendors in terms of platform, process and architecture. So guys, if I talk about your Palo Alto firewall, it uses single pass parallel architecture, right? Single pass and parallel processing architecture. So basically this is the architecture of your Palo Alto firewall, right? So that is something that makes different from other vendors to your Palo Alto firewall, right? Now guys, let me describe you another question, which is explain about single pass and parallel processing architecture. Now let me give you a quick example of the architecture. Suppose, so we are talking about the architecture of your Palo Alto firewall in a brief manner. Now suppose you have one data packet over here, right? You have one data packet over here, and so this is your firewall basically, right? This is your firewall with some features like antivirus, IPS and IDS, and you can say URL filtering, Suppose you have three features, right? Suppose your firewall running these three features together, and at the same time we want to filter our data packet. We would like to check my data packet, or scan my data packet. So here is the in and here is the output. This is your out interface and this is your in interface. Now if we receive data on inside interface, now suppose it is taking 1 second. It is taking 1 second to scan through antivirus software or antivirus which is activated in your firewall. Antivirus feature, basically antivirus feature taking 1 second to scan this data, and IPS IDS feature also taking 1 second to scan this data, and URL filtering also taking 1 second to scan this data, right? Again, so total it would be 3 second guys. So again, this is not the parallel processing architecture, right? Now so total it would be 3 second. Now let me tell you example of your This is just a normal way to scan any data traffic, right? After going through with these all things, we will receive the output after 3 seconds, right? It means it is taking 3 seconds of time to process a particular packet, right? Now let me give you example of your parallel processing architecture. Now what we are going to do is we are going to perform URL filtering. Next one is your IPS and IDS feature. Suppose this is your app control or app ID, right? App ID feature in your Palo Alto firewall, and this is your firewall. Now this is the ingress interface and this is your out interface. This is your in interface and this is your out interface. Now, and you have got one data packet again. So here you have one data packet. Now this is basically the example of single pass and parallel processing. Now there are two words, single pass and parallel processing. Now single pass means you are sending data only once, right? You are sending data only once. Now again, if I talk about the timing over here, so parallel processing means you are parallelly processing the same data packet. Now before it was taking 3 minutes 3 seconds, right? Now suppose it will take 1 second, 1 second, so 1 second. Now guys, equal to 1 second. So this is your parallel processing, right? Basically parallel processing architecture. It means once we receive any data on our internal interface, we are going to put one copy on URL filtering blade or feature, right? Another copy would be sent to IPS and IDS and another copy would be sent to app ID feature. Now we are processing this data packet in a 1 second, and basically we are putting those three services or those three hardwares, I can say, in the parallel processing, right? So basically we are processing this data parallelly, so that is why it is taking 1 second now. So after 1 second you will get your output. Clear guys? So this is your single pass and parallel processing. Now single pass means you just have to send your data, means you just have to put your data into ingress interface only one time, right? Once it receives the data, it is going to process that data, and the data or the packet would be forwarded to URL filtering, IPS, IDS and app control together, right? So basically we are processing this data simultaneously, and now it is going to take 1 second, right? So this would be your parallel processing architecture, guys, right? So again, I'm using only 3 features. But if you want, you can add few more features. You can enable few more features if you want, right? So guys, let me move to next question about your Palo Alto firewall. So guys, if I talk about your okay, yeah, Amit. So at which behave he will perform parallel processing? In which behave, Amit, I did not get your question. Basically, if I talk about my Palo Alto firewall, it only performs parallel processing, right? It means it is going to scan the same packet in a same time. Amit, you can ask your question again if you have any doubt about the architecture part. Right now, let me move to the next question, which is what are the four deployments mode? What are the four deployment mode and explain, right? So basically, here we are talking about your explain means here we are going to talk about the interface modes basically, right? So how many interface modes do we have in Palo Alto, right? So if I talk about your interface modes in Palo Alto, so now guys, we have total four modes. The first one is tap mode, and the second one is virtual mode, virtual wire basically, and the third one is your layer 2 mode, and the fourth one is your layer 3. Deployment, you can say, right? So total we have four modes in Palo Alto firewall, right? Interface, it means we can configure our interface in four ways, right? Now the good thing about Palo Alto is we can use same interface in a tap mode, and if you don't want tap mode, you can select it as a virtual wire, and the next one is L2 mode and the L3 mode. Now, so guys, let me tell you the difference between all four modes. Now, the first mode, which is tap mode. So guys, if I talk about tap mode basically we use it to research purpose, or you can say to monitor purpose. Suppose let me give you one example. Suppose this is your firewall, right? This is your firewall. Here you have some interfaces 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, right? Suppose you have 6 interfaces now, and this interface would be the part of your inside network, right? This interface would be the part of inside network. Now what you can do with the tap mode is, suppose this is your interface, this is your tap interface. We have configured this interface as a tap interface. Now once we receive any data packet on inside, right? Once we receive any data packet on inside, suppose we are continuously getting so many packets on inside interface. Now what my firewall doing is, what my tap interface will do is, my tap interface will get one copy of that packet over here, right? Suppose from this is your inside, and let me take the outside as well. This is your outside interface. Now suppose someone sending data packets from inside to outside. Now what my tap interface is doing, my tap interface basically capturing or making a copy of those interfaces, and it is capturing over here, right? So basically we use this interface for monitoring purpose. We can connect one monitor over here or desktop over here, and you can capture those packets who are going through from inside to outside, right? In that scenario you have to configure your interface as a tap interface. So this would be your tap interface. So you have to configure this interface as a tap interface. Basically we create this interface for monitoring purpose, and you can say for research purpose, right? Now basically we can passively monitor traffic flow across the network by way to tap or switch span mirror port, right? So this is also your mirror port. If I talk about your Cisco devices, in Cisco technology we call it span or mirror port. So this would be same again, but here in Palo Alto we say it mirror port or tap port basically. Now guys, let me move to the next question, which is virtual wire. Basically the next interface type would be your virtual wire. Clear? Now virtual wire guys, virtual wire, first let us understand what is virtual wire, right? So guys, basically if I talk about our firewall, so basically we can configure, if I talk about ASA firewalls, we can configure ASA firewall in two ways, right? One is in routed firewall and the second one would be transparent firewall. Same goes for Palo Alto firewall. You can use this firewall as a routed device, it means the L3 device, and you can also use your firewall as a L2 device, which is your transparent firewall, transparent mode, right? So again guys, if I talk about your virtual wire, in case of virtual wire, let me give you one scenario. Suppose here you have one switch and this is your firewall. This is your firewall and here you have another switch, which is this would be your switch 2 and this would be your switch 1. Now suppose this is your Palo Alto firewall. Now we are putting this firewall as in transparent mode. Basically my firewall is working as a L2 device. So basically this is my L2 device or L2 firewall. Now what we can do is, suppose this is your switch 1, here you have LAN 1, basically LAN 1, and this is your LAN 2, right? Now again you have a few desktops of few user over here. Now with the virtual wire interface, what we can do is, suppose here you have 1/1 interface, here you have 1/2 interface. Now if you want to put your firewall into transparent mode and you want to use this firewall into your LAN network, right? In that case you have to configure these two interfaces as a virtual wire, right? So you have to configure those two interfaces as a virtual wire. Now if I talk about guys virtual wire, again if you create a virtual wire in your Palo Alto firewall, again you can only add maximum 2 interface, not more than that, right? Maximum you can add only 2 interfaces, not more than that. Clear guys? So this would be your condition again. So this is your in that scenario you have to configure your interfaces as a virtual interface, right? Now okay guys, so the next type of the next mode of your interface would be layer 2 mode. Now again guys, I'm using the same example to explain you the next mode, which is layer 2 mode of your interface. Now what it says, You again, layer 2 mode means again you can deploy your firewall into your as a layer 2 device, right? As a layer 2 device you can use your firewall. Now you can also create some VLANs in your firewall, and you can also inspect VLAN traffic through your firewall by putting your firewall in the LAN, right? Again, it would be in the transparent mode. Clear, guys? Now let me move to the L3 interface, which is already self-explanatory. I don't think so I need to explain it, but the layer 3 deployment, again with layer 3 deployment, it means you are using your firewall in a routed manner, right? Routed manner means your firewall is working as a layer 3 device, or your firewall is deployed as a layer 3 device. Clear, guys? Now, so this is another type of interface in Palo Alto. So again, a single interface you can configure in 4 ways. You have 4 ways to configure a single interface. So now let me move to the next question, which is difference between Palo Alto 200 and Palo Alto 500 and higher models. Right now, what would be the difference between guys between PA 200 and PA 500? Now let me give you an answer of this question. In PA 200 and PA 500, signature process and network processing implemented on software, while higher model has dedicated hardware processors, right? If I talk about PA 200 and PA 500 device, so the device who are working on higher end, suppose you have PA 7000 series, to perform IPS or IDS feature, or to perform URL filtering, you will get dedicated hardware, processor, RAM, and even motherboard as well, right? So this is the main difference between your small devices, or we can say a lower series and a higher series. So this is the main difference between your lower series and higher series of devices. Okay guys, any question? If you have any question, you can put it in the chat box. I am happy to help you out. So again guys, I got one more similar question which says, what is the type of Palo Alto architecture? The Palo Alto architecture follows single pass parallel processing. This would be your answer. Clear? Now the next question about your HA, right? Suppose you have two firewalls. I'm talking about the HA, which is high availability feature in your Palo Alto firewall. Now again guys, here we have two modes in HA, right? One is active and passive, and the next one is active and active. So let me take a quick example of your active passive. In this active passive mode, I am talking about active passive mode. In this mode, Palo Alto is supported in deployment types including virtual wire, layer 2, layer 3. In this mode, the configuration settings are shared by both of the firewalls. In this case, the active firewall fail, the passive firewall will become active and maintain the network security. So total here we have 3 points. Total we have 3 points. Now what is your first point? So I'm talking about the first mode, which is active / passive mode. Clear? Now we have 3 points over here. The first point says this mode in Palo Alto supports in deployment types. So basically, in this mode we can put our interfaces, we can configure our interfaces to work as a layer 2 interface and layer 3 interface and virtual wire also. And the next point, we can configure our interfaces to work as a layer 2, layer 3 and virtual wire. Right. Now this second point says in this mode the configuration settings are shared by both of the firewall. Again guys, in case of HA feature, right, if you would like to enable HA feature, you need at least 2 firewalls. Now the third point is, if active firewall fails, then the passive firewall becomes active and maintain network security. Clear guys? So total we have 3 points in case of active and passive mode. Now let me quickly give you one diagram. Suppose here you have one PA firewall and here you have another firewall. This is also Palo Alto firewall. Now here you have one switch where you have LAN connectivity. Now this switch is connected with both of the firewalls. Now if your one firewall is working as an active mode, and suppose this is your passive, this firewall is in your passive mode, right? So basically this is your active and passive mode. Now it means active firewall processing the data packets. So basically we are sending data through this firewall. Now this firewall is connected with your ISP. Again the same second firewall is also connected with your ISP. Now as of now my active firewall is Palo Alto 1 and this is 2. This is my active firewall. So basically the passive firewall, which is on standby mode, once if my active firewall got failed, suppose we got any issue with the internet connection, or suppose your firewall got stuck and your firewall is not working, your firewall got stuck somewhere. In that case, what we can do is we can suppose your firewall got failed. In that case, your switch has another interface to connect with the internet, right? With the same policy and same configurations and same settings, I do have one more firewall deployed in my network, right? So what we can do is we can start using this firewall in case of failover. So basically that is the reason we are putting 2 firewall in case of HA. Now this is your HA feature guys. In HA feature you have 2 modes, active passive and active active. Clear? HA means high availability, right? why we are performing high availability feature again, so that we can maintain good uptime, right? That is why we are using HA feature. Now let me give you another example on the same diagram. Now suppose if we are using both firewall in a active mode. If both firewall in an active mode, it means you are sending some data packets to from this firewall and this firewall as well. Now again, both of the firewalls are connected with the ISP, right? Suppose here you have some servers, right? So you can reach those servers by using any firewall, right? So this is your another setup, or you can configure your both of the firewall in active mode, where both of the firewall working together, right? So this would be your active feature. Now let me quickly give you some differences in case of active. So the first point is interface supported, right? So basically in that case we only be able to configure our interfaces as layer 3 and virtual wire only. Virtual wire and layer 3 interface only. We cannot configure virtual wire concept in that scenario if you have both firewall in active mode. Now the second difference is in this mode both the firewalls becomes both of the firewalls work synchronize and process traffic. Clear, guys? In this scenario, both of the firewall together sending data packets. Clear, guys? So basically this is about your HA device. Let me quickly take another question before we end this session, because this would be your 1 hour of session, guys. If you like this session, you can request me for another session, and by tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow, as per my availability, we can also create part 2 of this session, right? So guys, any question as of now? Okay guys, so the next question would be difference between Palo Alto next generation firewall and Checkpoint UTM. Now this is the main big difference, guys, if I talk about next generation Palo Alto and firewall. Now Palo Alto firewall has a different architecture and your Checkpoint firewall has a different architecture. Now I am talking about Checkpoint UTM. If you talk about Checkpoint next generation firewall, that also has single pass parallel processing kind of architecture. Now I am talking about Checkpoint UTM, which is Unified Threat Management. Now Palo Alto follows basically the difference between these two firewall are the main difference between your next generation and UTM device is Palo Alto has a single pass parallel processing, where Checkpoint UTM follows a multi-pass architecture processing. Remember, guys, few minutes before I showed you the multi-pass architecture process. So that would be the UTM process. Basically, my old firewall works on those process, right? Now, guys, next question: which protocol is used to exchange heartbeat between HA? Right. Suppose if you have two Palo Altos, right? So basically, these two Palo Alto firewalls keep on sending heartbeat messages to each other, right? It is kind of hello packets, but here we says it HA. Right. So basically, so guys, someone asking me one question, if we are covering the checkpoint question and answer over here. So again, guys, let me inform you all, for checkpoint we will create another session, right? Now the question was, which protocol used to exchange heartbeat between HA, right? If you configure HA between two Palo Altos, basically there is one heartbeat message keep on sending and receiving by both of the firewalls, right? Now guys, the HA basically using ICMP packet to send the heartbeat message. So this would be your answer, right? So we are using layer 3. We are using ICMP packet to send heartbeat messages. Clear? Now the next question is, the management network port on firewall can be configured as a which type of interface? Now suppose guys, if you wanna configure your management port, so what should it be? Which interface mode we need to choose it for that? Anyone who would like to answer this question? Now, okay, no question. So no answer as of now. So the answer for this would be layer 3. The management network port on a firewall can be configured as a layer 3 interface. If you want to configure your management port, you have to configure your port as a layer 3 interface, right? In a new firewall, next question, in a new firewall, which port provides web UI access by default? So again, the answer would be management port. Through the management port, you can take web UI access. Now let me move to the chat box. So Gaurav asking me some questions, and JQ is also there. So guys, okay Gaurav, how to disable DNAT rule through CLI command on Palo Alto? So guys, again, for the best source I can suggest you is to go to the technotes.paloalto.com, right? So that you can get the answer. And if I talk about your reality, guys, if I talk about your real-time environment, we never use CLI, right? 99% we use only GUI. Clear, guys? Again, if you want commands, it varies from system to system. Suppose if you get old operating system, if you got 8.1 operating system, right? In that case, Palo Alto, basically Pan OS 8.0 or maybe 9.0 and the 10.0, again the command prompt or CLI commands would be different. But if I talk about the GUI, so it would remain same, right? It would remain same. So I don't think so any interviewer going to ask you these kind of questions, right? No one will ask you these kind of questions. Why? Because in real time environment we only use GUI in case of firewalls. So these are not your router, Gaurav. So again, if you wanna find that answer, you can go to the KB notes of your Palo Alto, right? I'll share the link over here. Don't worry about it. Now the next question by JQ, which says, do we configure both active in which condition, as I seen mostly in active passive only? Yes, JQ, you are right, mostly we configure it in active and passive mode only. But what we can do is, if you want to load balance traffic, right, sometimes suppose you got a lots of traffic and you would like to use your firewall in active mode. In that case, what you can do is you can put your firewall into active mode, so that you can handle lots of traffic from your LAN network. So this is a scenario where we can use active mode. Basically we use it for load balancing purpose. And suppose if you are not getting a proper internet connectivity on your other firewall, you can and now you have another firewall connected with a different ISP. So in that case, what you can do is you can also put your another firewall to standby to active mode, right, or passive to active mode, right? So this is another scenario. You can do that, right? But mostly, yeah, we can also by performing active mode, by putting active mode, we can also work on CPU utilization, right? We can cool down the CPU utilization of our firewall, right? Even your motherboard and your RAM processing will also go down if you choose if you put your firewalls in active and active modes. So guys, I hope this is all about your interview question and answer session. Maybe next week, or maybe Monday, or maybe day after tomorrow, I'll be conducting few more session on Palo Altos, because we do have few more lots of questions basically to cover over here. So guys, if you like this video, I would ask you all to share this video or spread this video, and maybe this video would be helpful for someone. Thank you, JQ. So that's all for the day, guys. So basically we are starting one Palo Alto batch, basically Palo Alto, Checkpoint and F5 batch from 20th. If you would like to join us, if you would like a full training about it, right, you can join us. Again, I have mentioned one Google Drive link on the chat box, on this on the description box, basically description box of this video, from where you can download Palo Alto Firewall OVA file, which is 9.0.4, right? For any query guys, you can join us on Facebook as of now, because our website is under construction. So once we launch our website, I'll definitely let you know. Clear guys? I also mentioned my mobile phone number. You can WhatsApp me on that number, right, for any query. If you want to enroll for a full course, that would be totally fine. Now, if you want to learn more technologies like Forcepoint, Juniper, JNCIA, Checkpoint RAT, Checkpoint CCSA, CCSE, right, F5, we are also providing some CCNA, CCNP courses. Apart from that, CCI as well, right? So again guys, we do have expertise trainer with us. So that's all from my end. You will find more about us on our YouTube channel, and even on LinkedIn. We do have one page, right? You can also connect with us over there. That's all for the day, guys. Okay, bye and thank you. Thank you for joining.